What's up guys, it's Mega giving you another deck for Link Evolution. We're doing another deck request guys, and that is Aromage. Think of them like a coiled spring. Second they get going, oh my god, they are literally unstoppable. I've never seen a deck that can literally recur life points and stay in it, even with so little life points, and they can just keep going. It's absolutely insane. This deck is of course my own opinion at the end of the day, and it's completely cool if you disagree with any of the cards shown in the video. Like I said before guys, we are doing... I am requesting a new for new decks because my list got deleted. So we've done the first one. We're now on Aromages. If you have another one other than these ones we have here, let me know and I will add it. Just one quickly point out guys that Rose Girl isn't in this deck, so I've had to change the deck a little around, and you'll see why and you'll see how. If you're struggling to make this deck or any deck shown so far, check out the card hub. Not only will it tell you what card is in this game or not, it will also tell you where to find it, such as campaign, challenge mode, or card pack that does include the new cards added via the update. Also, that is in the description along with my Twitch, where I do try and stream this game and other games. And also my days off, I am going to attempt speed running on some of the campaigns. Also in the description is my Discord, where you can join and you can ask me any questions you want other than leaving them on my YouTube. And with that guys, let's get into the video. To start us off guys, Aroma cards. It's actually weird not starting with Ash Blossom when she's in your deck. It's absolutely mind-boggling. So starting us off is Aromage Jasmine. Now all the Aromages have effects that trigger should you gain life points, and also they have effects that activate should your life points be higher than your opponent. So, for instance, Jasmine, during your main phase, if your life points are higher, you can normal summon another plant monster from your hand. Absolute great if you combine it with the hand trap we'll talk about in a minute, a garden, blessing, whatever, just because then you can get another plant monster in the field, you link them away into one of your key cards to start your combo off. And also she has another effect guys, where if you gain life points while she's on the field, you gain an additional card. So if you just have Jasmine and say Garden or Blessing in your hand, they increase your life points, you just draw a card and then boom, summon another monster, keep going from there. Then 3 copies of Aromage, is it Laurel? He or she is actually a very good card because if your life points are higher than your opponent, you can special summon this card from your hand. Absolute fantastic. If you gain life points, you can target a non-tuner plant monster that does include himself, and it becomes a tuner. So it's really easy to go into some synchro plays. Also, if this card is sent to the graveyard, doesn't matter if it's synchroed, linked, destroyed, tributed, you see what I mean? No matter how it goes to the graveyard, you will gain 500 more life points, which will then trigger all of your other Aromage's effects. 2 copies of Aromage, is it Majorum? While your life points are higher than your opponent, you take no battle damage from attacks involving your plant monsters. That's kind of actually a very niche effect. Also, she has an on-field effect as well, where when a plant monster you control is destroyed by battle, express summon this card from your hand, then you gain 500 life points. Also, if you gain life points, you can target cards in your opponent's graveyard equal to the number of Aroma cards you control and banish them. That does include herself. So if you just summon her via her effect and gain 500 life points, you can just banish 1 card in your opponent's graveyard. Then 2 copies of Aromage Rosemary. She's actually one of the worst, but you run her really because she's a level 4 to go into the level 5 synchro. When your life points are higher than your opponent's, if a plant monster you control attacks, your opponent cannot activate monster effects, so that's kind of great as well. Also, if you gain life points, you can target 1 face-up monster on the field, change its battle position. Unfortunately, that's not a if you want to. It's a mandatory. You have to activate it. So if you activate an effect like to do combo and stuff, unfortunately you're going to have to play her effect and maybe switch her into defense mode. So please bear that in mind. But then 3 copies of Aromaseraphy Angelica, one of the best cards in this whole deck. So she's a hand trap guy, so during our player's turn, you can discard her from your then target 1 Aroma monster in your graveyard, and you'll gain life points equal to its attack points. However, you can't target herself because obviously she has 0 attack points. So zero attack points. So you have to target one of the other Aroma monsters, and also she has an effect where While your life points higher than your opponent's and you control a aroma monster, you can special summon this card from your graveyard. However, she's banished when you leave the field. But being able to just gain a huge amount of life points during your opponent's turn and just then trigger all your effects is absolutely mind-boggling. Going on to some hand traps, guys. We are running 2 copies of Ash Blossom, which is limited to 2. Otherwise, I would, without hands down, no matter what, I'd add 3. I'd have 3 just because she's such a good hand trap. You add a card from your deck. Should your opponent add a card from the deck to the hand, special summon from the deck, or send a card from the deck to the grave, she just shuts it down, stops your opponent from doing stuff. Really great hand trap. Now, I was actually tight, because of the limitations in this deck, because realistically, Ash Blossom's limited to 2 and Long Fire Blossom's limited to 1, I wouldn't even be running Ghost Ogre. Without a doubt, I wouldn't even be running it if it weren't for the limitations. But unfortunately, there's limitations, so I was 3 cards short. I was like, what could I add? I tried Call by the Grave. I am actually thinking of putting a Fet Veiler instead because of some certain synchro situations I'm in. But I have but I decided to land on Ghost Ogre, but I say I might change it for a Fet Veiler. Should a monster effect activate on the field, or when a spell or trap is already on the field and activates effect, so continuous spell or trap or whatever, you can send this card from your hand or field to the graveyard and destroy the card. The effect isn't negated, so the effects will still trigger, but it just destroys the card, so it kind of is useful. And again, it's just a tuner, so if you really want to do it, you can use it for synchro plays. But I don't know. Play what you want with this card, but card really. Then 1 copy of Long Fire Blossom. Again, I just said it's limited to 1, otherwise I'd run easily 3. It's such a good card. So you contribute this card to you contribute 1 face-up plant monster. It does include itself. Special a plant monster from the deck. And able to go into your Aroma Mages is key, because it really is important to go into all your plays. And then 3 copies of White Rose Dragon. Now, again, I was short, and because of Rose Girl is not in the game, I was like, what could I add? I need something that could special summon that could help me. And Rose Dragon, or White Rose Dragon, just fulfilled that requirement. So, you're not really going to play its effect where, when it's normal summons, you could special summon a Rose Dragon monster from your hand, because obviously you don't have another one. But it does have a niche effect where if you control a plant tuner, you can special summon this card from your hand. So if you've got Angelica on the field, or if you play Laura's ability, you can just special summon this card from your hand, and it just helps so much. And also it has an effect where if this card is used for synchro summoning, you can send a level 1 or a level 4 or higher plant monster from your deck to your grave. And so that means you can send Rosemary or Marjoram to the graveyard, because then you have traps to recurrent back into your deck and draw more cards. Again, because in the graveyard, Angelica's effect will then trigger, you can use Angelica's effect to just gain a huge boost of life points. I found White Rose Dragon just gave the deck a little bit of an edge. But yeah, Ghost Ogre is definitely the one you can change. Then going on to the spells, we are running 3 copies of Aroma Garden. It's the field spell, guys. If you control a Aroma monster, you gain 500 life points. Also, all monsters you control gain 500 attack and defense. That does include non-plant monsters as well, so it's really handy. Even if this card leaves the field, they still gain that effect they still gain the attack boost until the turn 10 phase. And also, if an Aroma monster you control is destroyed by battle or by a card effect, you gain 1,000 life points. Then Aroma Gardening, which is absolutely fantastic card. If you normal or special summon a Aroma monster, you gain 1,000 life points, which again will trigger the effects. And when an opponent's monster clears an attack, while your life points are lower than your opponent's, you can special summon an Aroma monster from your deck. So just great. You could just keep just this one card has saved my bacon, as you'll see in the replay, so much. It's absolutely fantastic. Then 1 copy of Terraforming. You can add basically Aroma Garden to your hand. It's all you need. I didn't know what other cards to search, because you can't put stuff like Upstart Goblin in this deck, because obviously that means your opponent's life points will be higher than yours, so it kind of doesn't make it work. So it's kind of hard to find search cards in this deck, but I decided to land on this. Traps, we are running 3 copies of Blessed Winds. So the Blessed Winds, Dryad Winds, and Humid Winds are all the Aromage in-game, in support trap cards. So for Blessed Winds has 3 effects. So you can only activate one of them per turn. So you can either send one plant monster from your hand or face up on the field to the graveyard and gain 500 life points. You can either target a plant monster in your graveyard, shuffle it back into the deck and gain 500 life points. Or you can pay 1000 life points and special summon an Aromage monster from your graveyard. All effects are fantastic, and again with the shuffle it into the deck, if you could just keep shuffling Laurel back into the deck, because then if you have lower life points than your opponent, just summon it with Aromage. Your opponent attacks in, you just summon it again from your deck through gardening, gain 1000 life points, and if your opponent attacks into Laurel, you gain even more life points. Absolutely mind-boggling. 2 copies of Dryad Winds. In the replay, guys, I was really trying to draw this card, but I couldn't draw it. But if I did, the duel would have been so much over and it would have been so much easier. But we didn't draw into it, so obviously we had it went on for like 70 years. So if you gain life points, you can target a face-up monster your opponent controls, destroy it. Has to be face up though, so please bear that in mind. And if you control an Aromage monster and your life points are at least 3000 higher than your opponent's, you can pay life points equal to the difference and destroy face-up monsters your opponent controls whose combined attack is less than or equal to the life points you paid. So really comes in handy when you want to blow up. You don't have to pay. I mean, paying the 3000 life point plus is not mandatory. That's up to you. But just popping your opponent's cards is absolutely key. Then 3 copies of Humid Winds. So you can pay 1000 life points and add a Aromage from your deck to your hand. Also, if your life points are lower than your opponent, you can gain 500 life points. You can play both effects once during your opponent's turn. And then again, I needed something in the deck. I found Infinite Impertinence to be a nice addition into this deck because, it's a hand. Yeah, it is a hand trap, so you can play it from your hand if you control no cards. But just interrupting your opponent's monster effects it's just too good. You can just set it, interrupt your opponent's plays. That's the only reason I decided to run it. And then, guys, going on to the extra deck, we are running 3 copies of Aromaseraphie Rosemary. So it's like the upgraded version of just Aromage Rosemary, basically, but she's 10 times better. When your life points is higher than your opponent's, all plant monsters you control gain 500 attack and defense. And also, if you gain life points, you can target one face-up card your opponent controls. That face-up card has its effects negated. So really great, really. And then the better one, Aromaseraphie Sweet Marajorum. Again, the upgraded version of the normal one. When your life points are higher than your opponent cannot target plant monsters you control with card effects, so it gives them a little bit of protection. And also, if this card is synchro summoned, you can add either humid winds, dried winds, or blessed winds from the deck. So searches out one of your traps, which just makes it 10 times better. And also, if you gain life points, you can target one face-up card you control and one face-up card, one card your opponent controls and destroy it. So between this and Dryad Winds, you can destroy 2 cards your opponent controls every turn. Fantastic. I decided to put 1 copy of Black Rose Dragon in the deck because it has a couple of effects. Again, if it's synchro summoned, you can destroy all monsters or all cards on the field. It's just there for emergencies in case you have to, in case your opponent's got a board and you can just nuke the field. And also it has an effect where you can banish a plant monster in your grave, then target 1 defense mode monster your opponent controls, change it to attack, and also its attack becomes 0. I know its last effect is very niche, but you can just play it regardless. And also it's level 7, so it makes it easier to go into this next one, which is Crystal Wing Synchro Dragon, where you need a Synchro and a Tuner, so it's actually easy to go into this with your cards. When a monster activates its effect, Crystal Wing can shut it down. That does include hand traps. And also, if this card attacks a monster that's level 5 or higher, Crystal Wing will gain that monster's attack points. So it's really great. Then 1 copy of Cyverse Quantum Dragon. Going for the push, this card is great. So while you control a Link monster, which obviously you're going to do, monsters your opponent controls, cannot target monsters you control for attacks except Quantum Dragon. Also, they cannot target monsters you control except this one as well. So it gives your card some protection. And if this card battles an opponent's monster, you can return it to the hand. Also, this card can make a second attack in that turn. So you just attack, bounce your card bounce your opponent's monster back into the hand and just attack again. If it's a direct attack, even better. 1 copy of Garden Rose Maiden. You can't use her effect to search out Black Garden, but you can banish this card from your graveyard to target a Rose Dragon monster, so Black Rose Dragon, or a Dragon Synchro, like Quantum Dragon, and special summon it. So it does have some form of uses. Then we've got 1 copy of Queen of Thorns. So each player must pay 1,000 life points to special or normal summon a monster from, or for normal or special summon from their hand, except for plant types. So this doesn't affect you near enough one little bit, but if your opponent wants to summon monsters, yeah, they're going to have to be prepared to pay. And then going on to some links, we are running Appaloosa. It's kind of like the link version of Crystal Wing, where it's basically a monster negate card. So for each material you use for Appaloosa, it gains 800 attack. When your opponent activates a monster effect, once per chain by the way, you can use Appaloosa's effect to lose 800 attack and negate the effect. So if you tributed 3 monsters, Appaloosa will have 3 monster negates. If you use 4, it will have 4 monster negates. Then going on to the other link, we've got Aromatherapy Jasmine, the upgraded version of normal Jasmine. If your life points are higher than your opponent's, this card and any plant monsters it points to cannot be destroyed by battle, so it gives you a lot of protection. You can tribute 1 monster this card points to special summon a plant monster from your deck. And also, if you gain life points, you can add a plant monster from your deck to your hand. So it's great to tribute with Laurel, because you can just special summon Laurel, then tribute the Laurel, then you'll gain life points, then her effect will trigger to search out a card to your hand. You can special summon a monster through her effect, and then because you special summoned Laurel, you didn't normal summon it, you can then normal summon the monster you added to your hand. Absolute great. We've got 1 copy of Cross Rose Dragon. I decided to add this in because obviously we're running White Rose Dragon. You need 2 monsters with different types. It has a quick effect where you contribute this card and a plant monster to special summon 1 Rose Synchro, so Black Rose Dragon, or 1 Plant Synchro, so one of our Aromages, from your extra deck. And if a monster you control is destroyed by battle while this card is in your graveyard, destroyed by card effect, while this card is in your graveyard, you can banish this, special summon a Rose Dragon from your graveyard. So just gives it a little bit of play, and again, it's just easier to go into some form of like synchro plays. And then just 2 copies of Link Karibo, because we are running a lot of level 1s like Laurel, and the other one, Angelica. So yeah, it just makes life a little bit easier. And that's it for the deck, guys. Coming up is the dual replay. I decided to only add 1 because it is so every single duel I found with this deck, it just lasts us about 7 years, because it's all about controlling. Your opponent fights back, and you're just constantly gaining life points, and it's absolutely weird. It's very recursive though, this deck. I really do like it. It's just there just to troll, but it is actually very good. In the replay, guys, I did get hand trapped a lot. Like, if it weren't for skill drain, we would have been able to do a lot of plays and obliterate him, but unfortunately we couldn't. And then I got evenly matched, so that was unfortunate as well. So yeah, there was a few things that went off, but yeah, we literally survived by the skin of our teeth the entire duel, whittling down his life points, and then eventually I think our opponent got sick of it and just left. So yeah, this is what I mean. This deck is literally that annoying. It's absolutely mind-boggling. And I say, as shown in the list, the next deck request is either a Trickstar or a Sky Striker. I'll make one of those 2 decks, guys, so please don't hate me if I don't make the one you wanted. So please stay tuned for that. And yeah, I do hope you enjoy this deck. It's actually, if you did, hit that thumbs up. It's actually not a fun... It's actually a fun deck. I hate playing against it, but I love playing it. It's one of them decks, and it's actually... I'd say it's more casual, but oh my god, it can knock off troll. And with that, guys, wherever you are in the world, stay healthy and stay safe. Take care and goodbye.